So with 2019 coming to a rapid end and shoe manufacturers already preparing to release their 2020 models, right now is a great time to have a shop around. And today I'm going to be going through with you guys two of my favourite daily trainers that you can get right now for an absolute bargain. What is up guys, Andy Forestine Runner here, back with another video for you today, and today I'm delighted to be going through with you two of my favourite daily trainers that I've been running in this year. One of course that I've been running in a bit longer than the other, but in my opinion right now you can grab both of these things as an absolute bargain price. Today I want to go through with you both of these shoes and why you might want to consider grabbing yourself a pair before the new year. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, let's dive in. Alright guys, so let's dive into the construction of these shoes and why I think you might want to grab yourselves a bargain. But before we do, two disclaimers. Number one, this is not a sales pitch, these are just my opinions, there are no affiliate links below, just go and grab yourself a pair if you fancy it. And number two, no pedantic comments please about the fact that I have a pair of New Balance shoes sat on top of a night box. It's the only box I had spare to use. So with that out of the way, let's dive into the construction of the shoes and then why I think you might want to grab yourself a pair. So there are some distinct similarities and some massive differences between both these shoes. In my opinion, good and bad for both of them. However, they both work really well for me and I've absolutely loved running in them. The first thing I'm going to say is that this is a very recent addition to my lineup. However, I wish I grabbed them sooner. Love at first sight. I am absolutely loving this shoe. I think I've got nearly 70 miles in it now already. I'm just digging it so much. This thing took me a lot longer to warm into it, but then when I did, I'm absolutely loving it for various different reasons. Let's go into it. As you can see, without me even moving the shoes or holding them to the camera, you can see we have that distinct heel flare feature that has been so prominent during 2019 with a lot of shoes. But a main difference of these shoes is of course this ankle area. We have in the Adidas ULTRABOOST 19 this sock-like booty fit, as they call it, with this woven upper material. Very nice material by the way, fits like a glove. I really enjoy it, but no separate tongue here, just all round one piece. We've got the red at the back and the white stitched to that at the front. Whereas in the New Balance Beacon version 2 we have the more traditional separated heel area with a separate tongue in here. Nice and lightweight, nice padded. Something New Balance did really well with this year was the tongues. It's not like a thick Asics tongue where it's just super cushion, nor is it one of those thin pieces of material that Nike have been using. So just that perfect balance. The one thing that both of these companies have got right, in my opinion, is the lacing system on their shoes. A couple of you commented about this plastic on the side of the Adidas ULTRABOOST 19 and how much weight it adds. You're probably right. It probably is an unnecessary feature, but I can get a really secure fit. Not only does the sock-like booty material here secure my ankle, but then when I lock myself tight in the midsole, it just feels great. It's one of those shoes that when I get locked down, it's just I don't have to tinker with it. It's great. It doesn't come loose. It's just perfect. And again with the Beacon, just nice, simplistic, easy to do laces. Nothing fancy, nothing special. So kind of moving on down, both of these have some kind of knitted upper, obviously their own brand's knitted upper. I've got to be honest with you, I prefer the knitted upper on the Adidas ULTRABOOST 19, but it is a heavier material. This thing is very lightweight, much thinner, much more breathable. I would say this is more of a shoe that I like to use in summer. This is something I'd like to use more in winter. It just keeps my feet a little bit warmer, but of course, because it's a knitted upper, it soaks up that water quite a lot. So it can get heavier than it already is, which leads me on to the next point, the midsole and the outsole. Of course, we've got the Boost midsole in here and then the Continental rubber outsole spanning the full width of the shoe, which adds to the weight of this thing. Whereas in the Beacon, we have the fresh foam midsole from front to back and then just a few select areas on here with some rubber outsole for durability, just to help with the durability in the high wearing areas, as New Balance says. So the final massive difference between the two, as you've probably gathered, is weight. This thing is as light as a feather. This thing is a little bit heavier, but I've got to be honest with you, this is one of my heaviest shoes, but it just doesn't feel heavy, which is why it's not anything that's ever bothered me in the slightest. I've done long runs, speed work and easy runs in this thing, and it's just great on all of them. I absolutely love it. So let's dive into my preference of which shoe and how much you can get these things for. So as I said in the beginning, these things are marketed as daily shoes, and in my opinion, I can use these things for everything, but they certainly have their strengths and weaknesses. Before that, let me tell you how much you can get these things for, and then why you might want to consider them. At the moment, on sportshoes.com, and I'm sure you can find it elsewhere on other websites, this thing, the New Balance Beacon version 2, is selling at £53. £53, ladies and gentlemen, for a this year model shoe. Yes, to the latter end of the year, but this year model shoe that's had rave reviews from so many people. £53. Now, we all know that the New Balance Beacon version 3 is coming out next year, hence why the price is dropping and they're trying to shift some of the stock. But in my opinion, that is an absolute bargain. This thing is obviously heavily discounted as well. Same website, sportshoes.com. It's still at £95, which is a price. Well, no, I paid £86. It's back up to £95. But of course, with the Adidas ULTRABOOST 20 coming out, this thing is £70 cheaper, I think, than, or £65 cheaper than the newer model. And if you watch Jamie Review's channel when he did the Adidas ULTRABOOST 20, you will see that he said the ULTRABOOST 20 is great, but it's no different to the 19. So don't waste your money on the 20. Grab yourself a pair of 19. Both of these daily trainings coming in at £100 or under. This thing, £40 cheaper than this thing. Now, in my opinion, this thing's an absolute bargain. It's constructed more sturdy. I feel I'm going to get more out of this thing in the long term than this. This feels a little bit more disposable, a little bit more lightweight, a little bit like it's not going to last as long. But for £53, I can't get over it. So let me tell you the main difference as to why you might sway towards one and not the other. The bottom line with both of these is this thing holds a little bit more weight than this thing. So for me, as a daily trainer, speed work and easy runs are just the bread and butter in this shoe. I've done some speed work in it, I love it. I've done some easy runs, I love it. The long run is just not quite as good. I did over 2 hours in this thing and my legs and feet hurt by the end. So you can do the long runs in it, hence why it's an all-round great shoe, but I do find going over 2 hours in this shoe is just a little bit too much. Whereas this thing is completely the opposite. I find in this thing that 6 to 8 mile runs, the maybe hour to hour and a half is okay. Well, no, it's not okay, it's great. And the speed work, I've done some speed work in this, I find it really, really good despite how weighty it is. But the long runs, my long run test I did on the weekend with this thing was an absolute incredible experience. I loved it. I did not feel the weight. It did not weigh me down. Even when I was slugging it back up the cycle track to try and hit that 20 miles, this thing just kept me feeling fresh. I took them off at the end of the run and my feet felt brilliant. So in terms of how the Boost helped on the long run, it was brilliant. So you might want to sway towards the Beacon V2 if you're planning on not doing too many long runs. If you're more of a shorter distance runner, you're not marathon training, maybe just half marathon training and below. And in my opinion, the Boost, grab a pair for your long runs, grab a pair for those easy miles. If you are jumping into marathon training this January and looking to target something in April, for £95, this thing is a bargain. But my word, for £53. This thing is even better. So those are my thoughts on two absolute bargains you can get right now. Make sure that if you are thinking about grabbing a pair, now is the time to do it, because no doubt prices will go back out, stock will run out, and the newer versions of these things will take over and these things will be completely discontinued. So those are my thoughts on two absolute bargains today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and leave a comment below with what your bargain shoe is right now, because there are plenty others out there. And of course, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.